I graduated high school one semester early, and it has completely changed the way I think about creativity. In the past 2 months since graduating high school, I have finally had the time and mindset to do the creative projects I've been wanting to do for years, like writing my novel, starting this YouTube channel, and making a lot of paintings and drawings. The distance from school revealed something to me. For nearly 12 years, I had been trained how to interrupt myself. Before reaching a creative flow, I'd be interrupted by a school bell or something else. You've probably experienced this too. And there's a specific neurological reason for why the public school system blocks creativity. Understanding that mechanism changes everything. By the end of this video, you will understand how the public school system inhibits creativity systematically and what you can do to escape that. Chapter 1: The 50-minute problem. Your brain needs about 15 to 30 minutes to enter flow state. Interruptions can require up to 22 minutes to regain your focus and get back into that groove and flow state. Now think about the average school. You have about 50 to 60 minute classes. Then between classes, you have to do a forced reset. So I'll be going from art class into calculus, into physics, every hour or so, just switching between all of those. Just as I'm reaching that theta brainwaves and I'm reaching that flow, just then the bell rings and I have to reset and go into another mindset and learn about a different subject. I remember in my AP art class, I would never have the time to finish a painting during a class period. Just as I'm reaching that flow state and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this part, this is what I'm gonna change, this is what I wanna paint it to be like. Then the bell would ring and I would just lose that momentum. And by the time I go back to it the next day, I forgot those ideas. So this idea of the school system where you have a schedule and you're going from class to class to class, that isn't really just scheduling. That is a neurological disruption that causes your brain to lose focus and try to struggle to get back into focus in a new subject. Task switching can actually cause someone to lose up to 40% of their productive time because your brain wants to focus in on one task and it doesn't want to keep switching between tasks. And I've realized that 12 years of doing this has rewired me. But the timing isn't even the worst part. Chapter 2: The Hierarchy Trap. In the most watched TED Talk of all time, Sir Ken Robinson argues that schools kill creativity. In his 2006 TED Talk, he said, quote, "Schools educate people out of creativity. But how does this happen? You've probably noticed that STEM is usually much more valued at schools over creative things such as art or band or music programs. This signals subtly what type of thinking matters. But more than that, schools teach you how to think inside the box. They make you fear being wrong because we put so much focus on getting good grades, on getting the right answer on a multiple choice test, being able to differentiate between A, B, C, and D, which is the right answer. Which is the right answer, not what is the more creative answer. And I never thought of it like this until I recently saw another TED Talk, How Do You Create a School That Inspires Creativity by Martin Moran, in which he said this.
You know who doesn't work in this system? You know who sucks at it? People who are creative, who can't turn that part of their brain off, who want to ask questions, who want to say, stop, I want to know a little bit more about this. Can we talk about it? The answer is typically, nah, we got something to do tomorrow.
And this made me realize that advanced placement classes stick so much to the curriculum that students that are more creative and can't just tap into this mindset where you're just choosing the multiple choice correct answer. And they want to be more creative and more exploring into these different avenues that these curriculums could offer. Advanced placement classes, though, are geared towards taking an advanced placement exam at the end of the year. I've taken 12 AP classes and I did not think of it like that before. Now that I do think of it like that, I can actually see places where in my AP classes, I did not get to explore the things that I wanted to. For example, in my AP Euro class, AP European History, I was really fascinated by the execution methods. That's kind of like a weird topic to be interested in But during the French Revolution, they started using the guillotine to execute people, and this is very egalitarian way of executing people. Before, in the medieval ages, they would do stuff like drawing and quartering. And that's just so horrific to think about, but they had so many different ways of executing people. There's even this museum where they show different execution methods, and I would just love to go to that museum and just delve into that and learn all about that. I think those could inspire a lot of really cool short stories or Stephen King inspired kind of novels, but the curriculum for AP Euro obviously does not go so in depth into weird things such as execution methods. So I just had to keep going in the curriculum because it's a very fast-paced class, and I never got to do a deep dive into that during class. Like, we couldn't just have a class discussion about
execution methods.
That sounds really creepy, but that's just an example. Another thing that I was interested in that was not covered in the AP curriculum was during AP Calculus BC, we have this unit about polar. So throughout high school, you'll learn about the X and Y coordinates, so it's like this. But polar uses theta and distance pretty much, and it creates really cool patterns. Well, as I was learning about polar, I thought this could make some really cool digital art, and I wanted to explore that pathway. But since the AP class is again very fast-paced, we didn't have time for that. We only learned about polar for about 2 days and then moved on. In settings like this at school, curiosity becomes an interruption, not an asset. Instead of being curious about those different things and trying to create creative things such as art or short stories, that becomes something that would slow you down from doing the whole AP curriculum or other curriculums in schools. This created a specific kind of damage I didn't notice until I left. Chapter 3, What Distance Revealed. In my first month out of high school, I felt very disoriented without the structure. School is a very outcome-driven ecosystem. You're supposed to immediately have stats about your grades, your test scores, what kind of colleges you got into, what clubs you lead, all that kind of stuff. So without that structure, I began to have some imposter syndrome. But then something shifted. My mindset began to realize that practice makes progress. I don't need to have perfect outcomes right away. For my novel, I realized I can't just write a novel in 1 month and have it be completely amazing. That's just impossible. Unless you're like a super famous writer, I don't know if that's even possible. But at least for my skill level, where this is my first novel, that's not possible. And I realized that's okay. It's okay to spend time writing a novel. A few weeks ago, I had this beautiful moment where I realized I have my whole life ahead of me. I don't need to have instant outcomes right now in order to be successful in life. But school really did train me that I need to have outcomes right away. I need to get great grades. I need to get really good test scores and all that stuff in order to be successful. But I'm realizing creativity is when you can let go of those outcomes and just let yourself flow and see what comes out. I learned how to make mistakes without instant penalty. For example, for every YouTube video that I make, I'm learning more about filming, editing, pacing, all sorts of things. I'm realizing that I had never been in full creative flow before. With the opportunity to make mistakes, to not have to have an instant outcome, I'm realizing the school system wasn't just inconvenient for creativity, it was incompatible with how school actually works. And the neuroscience explains exactly why. Chapter 4, The Subconscious Problem. You can think of flow state as a light meditative state. It requires concentration and no task switching, so then you can become completely absorbed into what you are doing. Alpha and theta brainwaves need uninterrupted time, so that means you can't really access them in 50-minute class periods. In my experience, the school system optimizes for the opposite of that. It values speed, correctness, and compliance. On a large scale, this is like what I was talking about earlier, where in AP curriculum, you don't have the room or the time to explore some weird avenues. There's not really that space for creative exploration. But the creative process does require that type of experimentation. The rational structure can actively block the irrational process of being creative. This creates a trap that most people never escape. Chapter 5: The Coming Collision. In about 6 months, I'll be entering college, and I wonder, will it be different? Or is it the same mechanism as the public school system, just different branding? Public schools were created during the industrial age, and they still have that same kind of mindset of training for compliance and memorization, not creativity. The freedom of this gap semester is showing me what's possible when I can escape that, but it's also giving me some uncertainty about re-entering that education system. In his TED Talk, "Do Schools Kill Creativity?" Sir Ken Robinson said this.
Picasso once said this. He said that all children are born artists. The problem is to remain an artist as we grow up. I believe this passionately, that we don't grow into creativity, we grow out of it. Or rather, we get educated out of it.
I'm scared that if I re-enter the education system, I will grow out of my creativity once again. Or has distance given me enough clarity to resist it? Chapter 6: The Unresolved Mechanism. Ultimately, this video is not about blame or fixing education. It's more about seeing these patterns clearly. And once you see them, you can't really unsee them. If you're still in the education system, try to find gaps. 1 uninterrupted hour where you can get fully into flow state on one of your projects is going to be better than 3 interrupted hours where you're not getting into that flow. And if I could talk to a younger version of myself that was still in the school system, I would say this: protect your long-term projects outside of the school walls. For me, that was writing my novel. I acknowledge that many can't leave the school system early like I did. I was very fortunate to take some dual enrollment classes and be able to knock out credits that way. But even if you can't leave early, just understanding why you feel blocked, that's something. So I don't really have any conclusions yet. I'm just watching what I do with clarity and letting go of the constraints that were once educating me out of my creativity.